Try some more.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time to welcome Gordon Monson into the show. Gordon, good morning.
Man, how you guys doing?
We're good. Yeah, we've been up a long time. You've been up, I'm guessing, 5 to 10 minutes? Maybe 15?
I got a bad reputation in that regard.
You do.
He might even be up now. Might still be in bed.
Are you sitting in bed?
No, I'm not in bed.
All right.
But the bed's not far away. I did the morning with DJ back in the day. Remember that?
Yep.
Oh, my gosh. There's a lot of history between the three of us.
There you go. All right, well, we wanted to have you on. You've written a story about what's going on at BYU. What is going on at BYU in your estimation as near as you can figure out?
Well, I've gotten look, I got my sources down there. I know you guys have yours too. And it's funny, people think we're making this stuff up. We're not making this stuff up. Kalani is really, really upset with the way things have gone down, and there's a bit of a disconnect. At least there has been. I don't know what's happened in the last 12 hours or so, but I know that Kalani was pretty upset with the situation as it was unfolding. He had certain expectations that haven't been fulfilled, and we'll see if they get fulfilled. And where this goes from here is anybody's guess. I would assume that they'd be able to smooth it over, but I'm not sure of it. I mean, I'm not sure how Kalani is going to respond moving forward. I do know this. He loves BYU, and he loves his job down there. But look, when people tell you something, I think one of the things that bothers people the most, or at least it does me, maybe it does you guys, and it certainly does Kalani as well, when people don't tell you the truth, or they tell you one thing and then they do another, that's a bit of a problem, especially at a place like BYU, where they claim to stand for certain things that about truth and things like that. And I think Kalani was extremely disappointed with the way things had gone. I have sources down there who told me they'd never seen Kalani as mad as he was over this.
Yeah, okay. I buy it. So the opportunity arose for him to speak on it, and he chose, and that's sort of mushroomed since then. The idea being that Brian Santiago is the whipping boy. I'm wondering to what level of accuracy, because we're making that sound like he's put a stop to whatever was agreed upon, and he alone, he's king, and he decides where the money goes, and he's a basketball guy, and he walked out on the stage when they hired Kevin Young. It's like I like to say when Morgan Wallen does his stadium tours, he always takes a local guy or two or a gal and walks out with them. And, he was right there with Kevin Young. So he's a basketball dude doing that very thing. And so he's going to devote as much money as possible to basketball at the expense of football. But I'm wondering the validity of that in terms of he's the sole reason why Kalani Sitake is furious.
That's a real good question, PK. I think this is a $64,000 question that I haven't been able to find out yet, and I don't know how you guys are or where you are on it. But it's this: who is it? Who is it that is where the buck stops on this? I've talked to people down there who have been totally pleased with Brian Santiago, who say he's a fair dude. And he's worked with them, and they're happy with his involvement. So is it him alone? I kind of doubt it. I was told that some of the emotion coming from Kalani is not just aimed at Brian; it's aimed at certain administrators that are higher up on the ranking. And so I don't know. This is one thing I haven't found out, and I don't know what you guys have found out. Who is it? Who is it that is causing the problem and the disruption with Kalani? I don't have the answer to that yet. Do you guys?
Well, I definitely think there's friction and tension there. I don't think that's any surprise. And I put out a piece I don't write regularly anymore, but I thought that was necessary. And the idea being, Brian was comfortable with Kalani leaving, and it had to go above him. And I guess elders of the church who have that, they're assigned BYU, whatever it might be, how it plays out, and they had to step in. That Brian was completely comfortable in going with Jay Hill, and if Kalani didn't want to stay or wanted to go, so be it. So there is tension there, but I also have a hard time believing, based on the structure of BYU, which tends to be a little bloated at the top, that you're going to have so much power as the athletic director, and everything, the buck stops or doesn't go forward with you exclusively.
I would just build on that. I would say there is no way that Santiago by himself could be fighting some multi-front war and holding everybody off. There've got to be people who think like he does, and whether he's leading them or they're leading him and he's following them, I don't know. That gets pretty gray. But it doesn't seem to me like the worst case scenario that people are talking about, the absolute worst case could be true. The Kalani isn't getting stuff that's in his contract, and that Santiago alone is the reason. No, because back to what PK said, there's usually too many people, and you report to multiple people, and there's a whole food chain, and like that he would all by himself. That just doesn't smell. That's not logical. It doesn't pass the smell test.
I agree with both of you. That's not the way things work at BYU. You don't. One guy in Brian Santiago's position doesn't have the power to put up a battle like this. And if he does, if he thinks he does, he's going to lose. He's going to lose that, in my opinion. I think it goes beyond. It goes to the school president. And I don't know where the leap is from the administrators up to church leadership. That's the void that has not been crossed or connected in the people I've talked with. But I was told by reliable sources that Kalani's anger goes past Brian Santiago to folks who are in more powerful positions than he is.
I think the basic premise here, rather than get caught up in the specifics, is why aren't you investing more in football compared to basketball? And basketball is riding along with football when football, and this is across the country basically, and certainly at Provo, Utah, BYU, is that the return on the investment, the ROI as they say, and I know, Gordon, you're a financial genius because you've advised me many, many times that the ROI in football is just X amount larger, and it'll always be larger. And that's where you need to put the majority of your emphasis financially and all the other things that go into it, because they are the big money maker, and the opportunity to make even way more than you're making now is there if you would invest in it. And I think that's the core of the issue.
I agree with that, PK. And the thing about Kalani knows what a program has to have in order to be at the level that BYU fans and that he expects the program to be. I don't think he's sitting there. I think he wants what he's due on a personal level. There's no doubt about that. But he wants the other stuff. I was told it goes from big things to little things on down the line. Stuff that some people might not think is that important, but it's very important to him because he thinks it affects the way the Cougars play on the field. And, if you put this to a vote among boosters and among fans, certainly BYU has plenty of them. One booster told me they're swimming in money down there. They would be on Kalani's side on this and just say everything you just said, PK. Football is king down there. Take care of your football program. Because think about what's happened with BYU sports. I know some people think, this isn't important. These are just games they play. BYU has gotten so much publicity and much of it positive out of its sports, especially football and to some degree basketball over the past couple of years, probably more than I've ever remembered seeing come BYU's way in the past, going back 40, 50 years, all the way back to Lavelle. I mean, I've seen BYU spoken of more often recently than ever before in all my years covering that school. And so they do get benefits from this. People do watch BYU football and say, hey, BYU, you know, they're aware of it. And that's kind of going all the way back to Rondo Feldberg. That's sort of what the church that operates the school wants to get out of this. They want positive publicity, and they want exposure that will lead people to become interested in what their religion is all about. And so, yeah, it's pretty important to that institution down there and up in Salt Lake as well.
Gordon Monson, Salt Lake Tribune, joining us. Do you feel like it'll impact the team in the short run this season? Do you feel like it might impact it in the longer run, or do you think they blow through this and just keep doing what they've been doing, which double-digit win seasons 4 times in 6 years and back-to-back in the Big 12, which is most important, obviously?
2 avenues here. One is that in the long run, I think it could be harmful to the program. It could be harmful in the short term as well. But I wrote a column about this, and it's something, you know how football is, how emotional it is. I think the players could rally around their coach. I mean, you guys have known Kalani all these years. We've known him for, what's it been, PK, 35, 40 years, whatever it's been, 30 years. I mean, the guy is a lovable dude. His players, most of them, maybe not all of them, but most of them really love the guy, and he loves them. And when you have that kind of connection with your players and the players sense that, hey, this guy is not only sticking up for himself, but he's sticking up for the players as well. I was told by a source down there that those players don't get nearly as much in benefits than what the reputation is. And they see this coach out there fighting for them and fighting for him and fighting for them as well. So will they go out and play their off to help him succeed? And so it could be a rallying cry for this season. On the other hand, if things start to go south a little bit, then who knows? Who knows what can stir up? And we've seen this with college teams. We've seen it with professional teams. Sometimes it can benefit, and sometimes it's a detriment. What it's going to be with this particular team, I'm eager to find that out. But in the long haul, I think if BYU kicks off Kalani Sitake to the point where he wants out, I think that would leave a hole in that program that would be very difficult for him to fill. I know Jay Hill is out there. He's busy in Michigan right now. We know he wants to be a head coach one day, but I don't think he's a vulture just circling around the carcass of BYU football, waiting for an opportunity to get in there. Kalani Sitake is from Central Casting. For BYU football coach. He is everything they want in a coach, and then some. And when you think of the record, 23-4 over the past 2 years, what's not to like about what this guy is doing? As far as spending the money, investing the money into the program, that's something that has to happen if they want to compete for Big 12 championships and to get into the college football playoff. If they want to be what they've been in the past and just kind of finish 7-5 or 8-4, something like that, then maybe they can get away with this kind of nonsense. But they can't get away with it if they want to be at the top. And it seems like that's what they say they want.
Yeah, they certainly say that. They want to play at the highest levels while maintaining the search standards and all that, and that's a difficult balance. We understand that. But my thought, and I don't have anybody who's told me this, is that we have heard from other folks that, the price keeps going up and up and up. The percentage, 15, 20% per year, even more, and there's $40 million, $50 million rosters, that the church leadership is going to put a limit on it. We're just not going to dump significant amounts of money every single year in terms of raising it. We'll, in our minds, devote a significant amount of money, but don't count on a 15 to 20% increase yearly like some of these other places are. Somebody's got to draw the line somewhere.
Well, do you want to win?
Yeah, but Do you want to win, or do you want to just continue to have a steady stream of money being flowed out?
Well, there are programs, and we can name some of them, who do have a lot of money, and they don't use it properly, or they don't use it in a manner that ends up with a successful formula. And so there is squandering of some of those resources. But the programs that really have it together, they utilize what they have and they win games. And you kind of get what you pay for if you have the right people in place. I think BYU has the right people in place as far as its football program goes. So what's the cost? What's the cost of winning? What's the reward to exposure? What's the reward for having BYU, your church school, named on national TV over and over again, and have people interested in tuning in and being interested? Because people love winners. It's just the way it is. If BYU wants to play that game, then they have to at least come up with a certain amount of money. We're way past the days of Lavelle Edwards when he was finding geniuses to help him win far beyond what the program had as far as resources. These days, you can't get by like that. It just doesn't work anymore. So you got to make a decision. What do you want to be? If you want to be at the top, then it's going to cost you a certain amount. But you get a lot in return as well. You got both of us, all three of us were talking to a certain guy down there at BYU recently, and he was telling us about some of the finances that are involved in and some of the payoffs that come out of BYU football. So ultimately, is it worth paying those prices? That's what they have to figure out.
Well, but see, the thing is,
Sitake's the right guy to have. I mean, how is he not the right guy to run the program and to pay that price for?
I get, and this is the part that doesn't make any sense. I get that one day it may be too much, that the spending's just accelerating so quickly. So everything just PK said, I get that. There'll be a time some school somewhere is going to say, that's just too much. But that's the kind of discussion you would think that BYU administrators would be having before they gave Kalani the deal. I wouldn't think that moment then comes within months of that deal being done. And if you think you're going to move on from Kalani to Jay, you think Jay isn't going to come in and say the same thing? Jay's now seen the inside of Michigan's finances. He's been in BYU. He's seen the inside of their finances. What do you think he's going to say? So you're either going to pay it or you're not. What is the end game in not following through on the promises, or only in following through on the promises part way?
100%, DJ. 100% right there. There it is.
Yeah.
You get what you pay for if you have the right people in place. If you don't have the right people in place, then you squander your money. If you have the right people in place and you invest what needs to be invested in order to be whatever it is you want to be, if you want to be at the top, then that's the price you pay. If you want mediocre football and just have people go out to the game and those who will show up and enjoy the afternoon or the evening, whatever, okay, then that's what you're going to get. But you can't have it both ways. You gotta sacrifice what's necessary in order to win. And if you don't want to do that, then get the hell out of it.
We'll leave it right there, Gordon. Why don't you go back to sleep or take your late morning nap, whatever you want to do.
Oh, are you kidding me? I've been out, splitting logs and hauling lumber since the crack of dawn this morning. Come on, guys.
Hauling lumber. All right, we'll talk to you, Gordon.
Have a good one, guys.
Thanks.
See ya.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.